Hey y'all, it's me. It's your girl, the real deal. And you know what time it is. Yes, how y'all doing, real deal? Yes, y'all. I'm about to get to my reaction. God, I'm gonna miss Henry Dinkins. Henry Dinkins' white t-shirt, back-to-back life sentencing. Honey. But we're gonna get into his reaction, y'all. Y'all know I'm going to react as we go, okay? Yeah, honey, that Henry a mess.
Just take away my baby's life. You took away everything from me. My family's sense of security, laughs, health, and potential. Potential for Breasia to be someone's wife. The potential to be a mother, a college graduate, prom, everything. Oh, my baby girl, Henry.
An emotional day in the Scott County Courthouse this afternoon as Henry Dinkins was sentenced in the 2020 death of Breasia Terrell. Good evening, I'm Sharon DeReek. Last month, Dinkins was found guilty for the kidnapping and murder of the 10-year-old. TV6 Investigates Matt Christensen was in the courtroom today. He joins us now live with more on the proceedings. Matt?
That's right, Sharon. It was an emotional day in court, very somber. There was a crowd of Breasia's friends, family, supporters, and they were able to give victim impact statements today about what Breasia meant to them. Now, before that, the court gave Dinkins a chance to speak, and he was defiant until the end here. He denied any wrongdoing and blamed the court for problems that he'd have. That include him saying that he'd been gagged, deceived, had bad legal advice, encountered racism and bias in the news media. And he claimed his constitutional rights were being violated. He used words like sabotage and bamboozled. And he said he forgave his son, who was a key witness in the state. I also spoke with Aisha Langford after the sentencing, and she said she was struck by Dinkins' lack of remorse.
That made me feel like, damn, like my daughter's life wasn't worth nothing to him, but everything to us. And as well as he's ready to come with those appeals, as much as we ready to still stand outside this courtroom too.
Now, Breasia disappeared on July 10th, 2020. 8 months later, fishermen found her body in a rural pond. She'd been shot in the face once, twice in the chest. Now, Dinkins was sentenced to the maximum here. There wasn't any question about what he'd received because of state law, but he did get concurrent terms, which means that he'll serve back-to-back life sentences. Now, coming up at 6, we'll hear more from the courtroom, including from Dinkins and more from Breasia's mom.
Andrew said the fight went over. Oh boy, I tell you, this man right here, Lord have mercy, real deal. This man right here is a mess. He said, get what? Henry said the fight ain't over, y'all. Henry said this fight is not over. Oh wait, I got one more video for y'all, honey. Andrew said the fight went over. He better go back there and make some friends. That fight ain't over. He better go make him some friends. Don't make no sense. What? I don't know what to say.
All rise. District Court of Iowa is in session. Honorable Judge Latham presiding.
You may be seated.
Hurry up and sit down. The man didn't even say sit down. Hurry up. Somebody phone ring. Look at him, smelling them lips. Mm. Got hit, baby. He ready to read them notes. And y'all come on, man. We ain't got that. That prosecutor gonna eat him up again some more.
We're here in the matter of State of Iowa versus Henry E. Dinkins, case number FECR 415636. Mr. Dinkins appears personally and is represented by his attorneys, Mr. Freeze and Mr. Waters. The state of Iowa today is represented by County Attorney Kelly Cunningham and Assistant County Attorney Liz O'Donnell. Before we proceed with the sentencing, there is a matter I'd like to address on a couple matters. I want to commend everyone once again for how they conducted themselves during the course of this trial. You've acted very professional and very respectful for the court proceedings, and I would ask that continue today. That's exactly what I expect. Second of all, as I was preparing for this sentencing today, the court noted that in my sentencing order that I did cite an indirect code section as it relates to count 1, and I'm going to correct that at this time. That code section will be 707.2 (1) (a), and the order of the court will be amended to reflect the same. The court file reflects that on September 15th of 2023, this court found the defendant guilty under count 1 of murder in the first degree in violation of Iowa Code section 707.2 (1) (a), and under count 2 of kidnapping first degree in violation of Iowa Code section 710.2. The court at that time did order that a pre-sentence investigation report be prepared, and this matter was continued until today's date and time for sentencing. Mr. Freeze, have you had the opportunity to review that pre-sentence investigation report yourself and also review that with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any additions or corrections to be made?
No.
And Ms. Cunningham, have you had the same opportunity?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are there any additions or corrections?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Freeze, are there any motions at this time pending or any other reason why I should not proceed with sentencing at this time?
There are not, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Cunningham, do you have anything to present in regards to sentencing in this matter on behalf of the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The state has a sentencing recommendation. In addition, there are a couple of issues that I'd like to address related to victim restitution. And then we also have Aisha Langford present, the mother of Breasia Terrell, who has a statement that she would like to make at the conclusion of this matter.
Thank you.
All right. Your Honor, relative to the court's finding of guilt on count 1 to the charge of murder in the first degree, the state recommends that Mr. Dinkins be committed to the Director of Adult Corrections for an indeterminate, for essentially life with no parole. And I recognize that this is a mandatory sentence, but I'm articulating this for the record. As to the charge of kidnapping in the first degree, again, the state recommends that he be committed for a period of life to the Director of Adult Corrections, recognizing that that is not an offense that is subject to parole. The question really that the state has had to consider is whether or not the state was going to recommend concurrent versus consecutive sentencing as to count 1 and count 2. You know, the state certainly recognizes that these, are life sentences and that Mr. Dinkins is not subject to parole. But I think it's the facts and circumstances of this particular case that has weighed very heavily on the state's mind as to a recommendation of consecutive sentencing. So I'm going to walk the court through the state's thought processes, and then with that being said, articulate where the state is landing on a recommendation of concurrent versus consecutive sentencing. In going back to Mr. Dinkins' criminal history, I would note that as far as adult offenses, we have offenses starting back in 1989. I think that's very important to articulate, because the idea being when an individual commits a crime and they come into the criminal justice system, certainly the idea is that these individuals are afforded opportunities at probation, and once they've gone through that probation, ideally these individuals, will understand the importance of being a contributing member to society and not to commit further crimes. That has not been the case for Mr. Dinkins, and unfortunately, when you look at his criminal history, starting back in December of 1989 with his first conviction for theft in the 4th degree and operating a motor vehicle without owner's consent, we have an individual who has it's very sad. I mean, it's extremely sad. And you consider those circumstances, but then we stop and consider the circumstances involving Mr. Dinkins, particularly as it relates to his relationship with Aisha Langford, his relationship with Breasia Terrell, and even the fact that his youngest son was the brother of Breasia. Mr. Dinkins took advantage of a situation that no mother could have conceived would have happened. You have a mother who is having that chance contact with him at a convenience store to have a discussion with Mr. Dinkins about the importance of spending time with his son and being a father. That's a conversation that any mother would have. And certainly a mother encouraging a father to spend time with his son is something that we see happening in a world where we want there to be those healthy relationships. You've got that scenario, and then we stop and consider the relationship of Breasia to Mr. Dinkins' son. As Aisha Langford talked about, the two children were very close to one another and essentially were attached at the hip. And so with Mr. Dinkins' son going to spend time with him and the child wanting his sister to be there with him, a mother who's encouraging a father to spend time with his child and recognizing that in order to facilitate that, even though there hadn't been permission given for Breasia to go, but then finding out after the fact that when she's gotten off work, that very circumstance has arisen, and then for Mr. Dinkins to take that and remove Breasia from the apartment in the middle of the night. And then ultimately we find that that child's been brutally murdered with her having been shot in the face on the side of the jaw and having been shot twice in the front of her chest and traveling to the back.
You know what? That's sad, Henry. I just don't see you doing it. I can see. I mean, I'm a grown man, Henry. She want for 10. A 10-year-old, Henry. She's it, in other words, it just seemed like she was fighting your
they can't even begin to conceive what that 10-year-old child was thinking as she was standing there and Mr. Dinkins presented that gun and fired and killed that child. And then you take that and you stop and consider that this family is forced to live a nightmare that they could have never conceived of. And it's not a nightmare that comes to an end. Miss Langford, her son, her youngest son, her oldest son, they're going to live with the repercussions of this for the rest of their life. Quite honestly, when you stop and consider Mr. Dinkins' son, he was an 8-year-old child. And how do you take a child of 8?
I mean, he just sitting there. And what irritates me, y'all, is when people like this just sit there like they enjoying what you saying. They still getting an enjoyment of what you saying with their fingers out put together. Let me skip it some.
Issue of victim restitution.
Thank you. Mr. Dinkins, this is your opportunity to address me and tell me what you would like me to know before I pronounce sentence in this case.
We ready to read.
What are you supposed to do when you're told you can't even speak in court, especially when you see and know something ain't right? Logistically, it's like having a gag order.
Hold up, Henry. Hold up, Henry. Now they asked you, did you have anything you wanted to say? Or did you want to take the stand and stuff? You said no, Henry. You said no, Henry. So you could have talked. And what is this? Oh my gosh.
from addressing the court with any of the issues. What if your issues are with the judge, the prosecutor, or the attorney? You are not allowed to put anything on record at any time of these issues during the court proceedings, unless it's asked the question of the judge, the prosecutor, or
Henry, no. Henry, when are you gonna stop pointing the fingers? When are you gonna stop pointing the finger at everybody? First it was Breasia, DL, you pointed the finger at them, you pointed the finger at the mother, you pointed the finger at Andrea. When are you gonna point the finger at Henry? Now you don't start pointing the finger at the judge, prosecutor, and your own lawyer. Henry, he was reading your paper.
or your attorney. What happened to the rights of freedom of speech if a person addressed a matter to the court in the proper proceedings? Even if it's in the same spectrum as if your attorney or your prosecutor are addressing the courts or any issues. Your Honor, may I speak to the courts? There are so many various issues people might have at different times of the court proceeding. I believe these issues could be, I believe if these issues could be resolved between client and counsel, then there wouldn't be a problem, but that's not always the case. I'm only going to speak right now because this is my only opportunity to address the court during the closing of this trial, which is kind of too late for me. Even if you do ask your attorney to ask certain questions, sometimes things don't get done. I have a speech that I would like to address the courts with if the judge allowed me the opportunity to say the following. Let me address the facts about everything regarding my case. First, I want to know if I can quote case numbers or just saying the same, either or would be fine to me. Where is the justice in the judicial system, and how do you beat a system that is against you that's not playing fair? When I was in,
come on, Henry. So you think what you did to her was fair? Really? The jurisdiction? Are you serious? Wow, I can't believe this.
In Clinton County Jail, I remember 2 detectives coming to charge me with this case. I remember the female detective saying, we're going to make you look like a monster when this is over. That statement was made during my initial report. Who is they? That's the $1 million question that will arise a little later further in this reading. I'm only going to speak facts. To be honest, I was already found guilty before this case and trial already began. I can see it as racial profiling behind.
Henry, don't do that, Henry. You said you know you were found guilty because you did it. You took a Henry. Are you serious? We don't came this far and you still had to admit your guilt. Bless your heart, honey.
My background. I'm saying this because how everything played out from the beginning all the way up to now. I contemplated over the moves that the state used to hinder my character to fit their benefits. First, they blast my name widespread on.
I mean, why you talking like that? Why you going fast? Slow down. You ain't got nowhere to go. You got plenty of time.
Widespread coverage, negatively nonstop on the news, in the papers, and all over social media, and even on posters. This made me vulnerable towards animosity towards the public and guaranteed people to have a bad image of me in their thoughts. So
Henry, it's not cool when it's a 10-year-old girl, Henry. Are you still sitting here acting like a baby? Sheesh.
If I chose a jury trial, this pretty much polluted their thoughts about the type of person they wanted to image me as. And all this went global for their support. Now I'm guaranteed not to get a fair jury selection for trial. And even if I chose a bench trial, it would be sealed with a guilty verdict. So where
Henry, you chose the bench trial, man. I ain't never seen nobody so eager to sit here and try to get back on people being defense by saying he put it in his words. He being defensive in his words. He chose the bench trial. not the jury trial. He did this. His whole letter is blaming everybody but Henry Dinkins.
There's the equal liberty and justice in the system when you're being railroaded by the police, the detectives, and others working hand in hand. It really don't take no rocket scientist to see through this magnetic picture. Through these series of events, I know I've been railroaded, so either way, the state had the odds in their favor. The state produced 900 exhibits offered into evidence. I can honestly say I've only seen 35 exhibits before this trial, but I was given 665 exhibits during trial to have for my records. I never had the opportunity to look over 90% of any just for preparation for trial, but this includes footages as well. So where is
Henry? You got a lawyer, brother. Your lawyer did. You have a lawyer, baby. Man, I'm about to skip you up a little bit because you don't got on my nerve. I got to, y'all. I'm sorry. Henry don't make me mad.
Aishas, they play DLs, and they play Jareds. I know the state, I know and the state know that Andrea's initial video recording says something totally different. That's why they didn't show them contents or produce that video, which I'm not quite understanding why my counsel didn't bring that forward as well. I'm not even sure if he even had that information because I've never seen any footages but what the public saw during trial.
What?
I can speak for days about what happened, but since my attorney didn't bring up any issues on motion, what are my chances now? Even Jared's statement are twisted up.
Duh.
But like I said, anything the court
But
can
like
use
I
to find
said,
this verdict guilty.
well, Henry, you're not gonna be able to run that jurisdiction wherever you call it, in that jail. So you might wake up and get you a little friend, honey. And I thought I had to speed your paperwork up. Let me go a little faster. You still on that page.
In my heart to overcome these trials and tribulations. Right now, I'm the underdog rising through these misfortunes. I have to stay strong through this predicament. My God taught me failure isn't final.
Oh my goodness. What God is people practicing? What God, man? What? It said Henry Dinkins sentenced for murder, kidnapping, and the death of 10-year-old Breasia. What God is you practicing?
The fight is only over when you throw in the towel. What initiate champions? The Almighty. My endurance is built strong like never before. My joy is beyond any experience I ever imagined. I will overcome this. I am encouraged that a power far beyond my physical ability will appear and give me spiritual armor through this fight of lies with truth that will set me free.
And then he said that like he made everybody mad.
Would you like to address the court?
Your Honor, let me see. I think she's probably, is she coming back?
See,
She's coming back, Your Honor.
he thought they were gonna fuss with him.
Okay. Ms. Langford, are you ready to make your statement?
Somebody called
Ms.
like me.
Cunningham, I would ask that she take the witness stance. I think that would be easier, please.
He thought y'all were gonna fuss at him. They ain't sting you. They want justice for their baby.
There you go. Ms. Langford, you may proceed if you would just please state your name and spell your name for my court report.
Okay, my name is Aisha, spelled A-I-S-H-I-A, Langford, L-A-N-K-F-O-R-D.
You may proceed.
All right. Your Honor, my name is Aisha Langford, as I said before, mother of Breasia Terrell. Before I continue, I'd like to thank the court for providing me the opportunity for me to speak today. July 9th, 2020, exactly 3 years ago, since the last time I saw my baby girl, when I dropped her clothes off for her in DL after I got off work and showered and headed over to the Jersey Ridge Apartments complex. Once I got outside the complex, Breasia running out, smiling as she always does, a smile that can light up a room, any room. We spoke for a few minutes while she held her dog, Chloe. She said she loved me, and I watched her run around to the apartment complex while her lovely locks bounced away around 6:30-ish. Those are my last words with my baby girl. So I wrapped my mental around her face. Her last words, she said to me, the amount of pain I felt and feel that no mom should ever have to feel, because man, that stuff hurts real bad in a different spot. I didn't even know it existed until you, Henry Dinkins, changed that for me. Broke my trust and emotions. I had the day.
Oh, did y'all see Henry? Did y'all, Henry? Henry threw his shoulder at her. Henry, you better stop being mean. He looked at her and threw his shoulder. He can't stand that woman. Y'all shaming yourself.
You took my baby girl from me and just gunned her down like she was nothing and left her and never said a word at all. It's really painful that a statement could bring so much anger. I have a number of questions for you, Henry Dinkins, surrounding that night that played through my mind every day. Did she want me? Was she scared? Did she see those gunshots coming? Did you shoot her while she was trying to get away? Did she scream for help? Did she beg you to stop? Did you see in her face when she realized she was shot?
Look how he look. Look, y'all. Look how he looking at her. That's why he put the glasses on. Look at her. Henry, look at Henry. He put his glasses on just to look at her and give her this look. Look.
The first time? What was her last words? Did you stay and watch my baby die? How long did she suffer? Did you watch the life leave from her beautiful hazel eyes? What did you do to my son? Why? Do you know the answers to any of these questions I asked, huh? Henry Dinkins.
And he gonna sit there and look with his glasses on. Henry, you ought to stop. You see, he being mean right here, defensive. See, he think that he trying to make people mad, angry. Man, you better get that anger out of you.
Why you sit in this courtroom as if this shit don't hurt you. Watching you during these proceedings. That isn't right. You sit there with smiles and chatter during sensitive things and then try to speak to me when you never once spoke to me after July 14th, 2020. You remember. When I saw you in Scott County Jail telling me you didn't do this, but why you haven't said nothing then? Why? Henry Dinkins, closure doesn't exist here in this case. Justice doesn't exist here in this case. You didn't just take away my baby's life. You didn't just take away my baby's life. You took away everything from me. My family's sense of security, laughs, health, and potential. Potential for Breasia to be someone's wife. The potential to be a mother, a college graduate, prom, everything. Look. Oh, my baby girl, Henry. I went from believing I wasn't the best mom, but made things happen, but best I could, to downing myself day in and day out as, what kind of person am I not to have protected my daughter? I broken myself down many a times, over and over, analyzing text messages, calls, and conversations about everything, trying to figure out what I could have done differently. I watched my oldest son completely lose his childhood and be the cast of being the man of the house for me, because I was truly broken the day I got the call stating they found my daughter. I'll never forget, March 22nd, 2021, around 7:30 p.m. They told me they had information. I have been waiting.
You're not crying. Now stop acting like you crying now, because you just had your head up. You put your glasses on so you can see how she look.
Get on the highway near DeWitt, March 23rd, 2021. Once I got out there, it was a feeling I can't even describe, because it was the snuggle on my heart. Mentally, I was going insane because that was a different feeling in my body I wasn't used to. I kept myself covered from the media footage that was other while I shared.
Y'all see Henry. Henry ain't got a tear coming out here, and he come take them glasses out. Act like he, Lord have mercy.
Had so many tears inside because I couldn't describe that. My daughter
He put his glasses back on so he can see Aisha.
laid behind those squad cars and big RV, man. I couldn't do nothing to save her. All I got a glimpse of. All I got was a glimpse of a damn blue bag, man, that crushed my whole soul. I promise, broke me down, and still am. And my son commit to every hurt need I need, and still does. I watched my youngest baby. Become unrecognizable. At times, with the amount of anger he sits and holds to from this trauma you put him through, he's so hurt, he has no idea how to even understand or even cope with the loss of his best friend, partner in crime, his sister, who helped him through so much of his life. He will too overcome this and gain himself back and be somebody. He will not be what you have put him through or even made him sit through. We are suffering from so much, with anxiety and depression at the top of our list. I can't work at times because all the trauma on top of the world of things I encounter at most jobs, the social media crap, pushed me into a shell I haven't been able to shake quite yet. Our lives changed. 3 years went past us with no stops, right before our eyes. And here we are in this courtroom seeking the justice she deserved, so she could be laid to rest properly. Still yet, this all feel like a movie. I haven't changed the channel to, because this can't just be it. Like, that's all. That's the piece that sinks in and still hurt, because I thought hearing you get a life sentence with no possibility of parole will help me sleep at night. And it just doesn't, because she didn't have to be gunned down like that, nor left like that out there like she was just trash. She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve to have her lifeless remains shown across the TV.
She did.
Like she did. She did it, Henry Dinkins. So whatever you get won't be enough, because your family get to come to see you. And my baby is just that, just gone. And never, ever, ever coming back, as she left me July 9th, 2020. Peace, understanding, and forgiveness whenever.
Oh, he do not like that look. I ain't never seen anybody like this. You see him.
Come. I also truly hope what you did to her will haunt you for the rest of your life. I'll hold onto those good memories we shared, and not how you left her, and how she laid across that damn creepy swamp place thing where you left her and said not one word. How could you? How could you be such a monster, Henry? I am thankful for the justice for Breasia Terrell and my baby boy.
Thank you.
I know she want to hit him. Oh, that couldn't be me. She did
Before
good.
I proceed with my judgment and sentence in this case, I must address some of the statements made by the defendant in this case to the court. This court has provided the defendant with very competent representation during the entire course of this action. Actually, the attorneys representing the defendant in this proceeding and in this trial, his last counsel,
for them so that they can follow along as I'm introducing those exhibits. I want to make it clear that when Mr. Dinkins suggests that these were exhibits that were just came out of the blue and were presented for the first time, that was not the case. It's simply the state's way of being very considerate of my
You need to change your
colleagues
attitude.
on the opposite side of the table and making their jobs easier and making the process flow much
I'll conclude this matter.
Stand up, Henry. And no more sitting down. Bye. And no more white t-shirt. Bye. Child, y'all. I hear it. That's sad. I mean, that's sad. Henry just still didn't that cry. Still didn't apologize. Still didn't say nothing about pre-Asia, but roll his eyes. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I want to tell all my reaction people, all the people who viewed my channel during the Henry Dinkins trial. I want to thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming over here with me and interact with the real deal, Anita Gill, when she was doing this. And some of y'all still with me, but y'all are very welcome to come to any of my reaction. Y'all did an awesome job with this trial. I want to thank each and every last one of you all, my subscribers, my mods. People came in and just took over, and y'all did an awesome job, man, like grown folks, to make this trial go right for Breasia. Thank you so much for those viewers and new people, new subscribers, new mods,